Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss an interview with a food producer who was hit badly by Brexit and has recalled his despair at the advice offered by the government, which was about as much use as a chocolate fireguard. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So another example of the response from Boris Johnson's government to British businesses struggling because of his extreme Tory Brexit that was telegraphed a long time ago. Because for a good year before Brexit actually kicked off a few months ago, Johnson and his Clown College cabinet ministers were saying that businesses needed to take the opportunities that Brexit presented. No longer were they claiming that there would be no severe damage caused by trade, largely because there was no longer anything the public could do to stop them. They had their massive majority. So they were going to torpedo the country come what may. All they needed to do was to limit the damage to their reputations. So they told businesses to find the opportunities. The strong implication being that any business that struggles with Brexit simply failed to take advantage of those opportunities. Not that the government could give an example opportunity. And after several months, they've still not been able to showcase any businesses who have found any opportunities. Not one. The Brexit supporting media have been similarly silent on this issue as well. The best the government could do was spend our money to run an advert pretending to be an article that highlighted 3 businesses that with intense government help didn't completely collapse. And all of those businesses were importing, which means that our public money was used by the government to help some businesses give more of our money to the EU. Not yet found any examples of where the government have helped a business actually generate money for the UK, no, only from. And so it is that Simon Spurrell, who is one of the bosses of the Cheshire Cheese Company, who famously reported that a large portion of their business would have to be scaled back due to export problems, gave an interview in which he explained the help, in inverted commas, that he got from the government. Of course, I'm sure his hopes weren't high. At the end of the day, successful business owners are much more likely to have more business acumen than anyone who is likely to be assigned to help them from, say, the Department of Trade and Industry. Mr. Spurrell says that he was contacted by Victoria Prentice, who's a junior Conservative minister in the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, as a result of his prominence in the news resulting from the cricket bat to the face that her government had used on his business. Now, I'll have discussed his plight myself, but very quickly, the issue for him is that he exports relatively small amounts at a time directly to small businesses, presumably. And so, you may be based in France and you have an order of about £50, £60 worth of cheese, but it would have to be accompanied by a health certificate which costs £180 each time he does it. Now, of course, that's not worth it. That's paying other people to take his cheese. So unless you're selling whole truckfuls of cheese at a time, it's really not financially viable. So it's not just a case that his produce takes longer to arrive, it still would, or that it costs a bit extra, of course it would just with the transport. It's simply not viable to export it at all on that business model. So that's a large chunk of his business that's just gone overnight, completely overnight, not being scaled back, not struggling, not dwindling, just gone in one day. And this export business was doing well. He was about to expand, meaning more British jobs. All gone now. So apparently this witless minister said that there was nothing she could do about the export rules. Well, no shit, Sherlock. That's what happens when you leave the EU. You no longer get a say in the rules, but you have to follow them regardless. In fact, as I've said before, we have to follow more rules now because these new rules that keep coming up, they keep talking about these new rules, I talked about this in the last video, are actually just rules that were always there, been there for many years, that didn't apply to us. So not only do we have to follow most of the EU rules that we did as members, we have to follow a whole load of new ones now. But anyway, then she offered, with her pickled walnut of a brain, obviously thinking it's an opportunity. So she said, what you should do is look across the Atlantic for new customers, emerging markets and all that. That's the answer to everything. Emerging markets. What emerging markets? Is it because America and Canada don't have import rules? They don't have paperwork required? And even given that the process of certification may not be as expensive. The cost of transporting it thousands of miles across an ocean bloody well is. Spurrell described the conversation as fairly useless. I thought that was quite charitable. Now, I've seen enough of these situations now whereby I know what the solution for him would undoubtedly be, if it's viable at all. Because any number of other companies who've not been able to export economically to the EU have simply moved part or all of their operations over there, depending on, because there's some businesses in this country that export virtually everything that they produce to the EU. So of course they just move to the EU. Now, given that this particular company trades in Britain as well as the EU, they could set up a warehouse in the EU, send a load of stock there, and then sell directly from inside the single market to wherever their customers are. Now, Spurrell did seem to touch on this by saying that it would require a significant investment and could end up becoming, coming to nothing due to the increasingly hostile environment, as he described it, being fostered between what are now two sides, used to be partners. But even if he did this, it wouldn't be a Brexit opportunity for him, because it would cost him more money to do what he was going to do anyway, just from this country. And he'd be running a business with two sets of laws applying. It could still be, worth it in terms of the fact he may still make a profit. It might be worth doing it, but it would be less than if he could have gone ahead with his intended investment plans. The only opportunity in such a move would be for EU workers who would be getting those jobs out of it instead of British workers, as well as their local economy where their pay packets would be spent, as well as whichever EU country it would be in who would be collecting the extra taxes. And so here I stand, waiting for news of a business that has actually seized the opportunities of Brexit and prospered mightily. Not that it would be a vindication of Brexit even if such a tale emerged, because people were promised that there were no downsides. So even a single business suffering means that they were sold a lie. And for the country to have gained a net benefit, there would have to be a net increase in the value of exports, not just one business doing better as a result. And yet we still don't have stories of that one business doing better as a result. We have some who are managing, some who are cutting back on British jobs and creating them in the EU. We have those who are struggling. And then we have those who are completely screwed and they know they're going to the wall. Because if there were any businesses prospering, any at all, even a single one, there would be no avoiding it. I scan a diverse range of media as part of my alleged career now. But even if I tried to remain in some rejoiner echo chamber, there'd be no avoiding this. If there were a single business bringing in extra money for the UK as a direct result of Brexit, it would be plastered all over the media. The government would be trumpeting it from the hilltops. But there isn't, not one, let alone enough to compensate for the losses incurred by the businesses we are hearing about on a daily basis, much less exceeding those losses. Because like I said, if there were, the government would be saying, well, this business has prospered. Why don't other businesses take their lead? Look, if they can do it, anyone can do it. They'd be saying that on a daily basis. They are not. But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.